He didn't realize what his mother had done, or if he was just a better actress. Vivian smiled during his lead to the main table. Unfortunately, the seating chart was misinterpreted. You might like seeing how things work behind the scenes, Claire. You're an event planner. Therefore the emphasis lets everyone understand. Not a guest. I was staff who stumbled into their world. That night I questioned Jason about his mother's actions. In frustration he cried, raking his hair. With me, not his family. Old-fashioned Claire from Mom. She just needs time to acclimate. She expected me to marry Elle or Gia. Our lifelong friends. People with the proper lineage? I found the word bitter. His silence was confirmed. The pattern persisted. Mark, Jason's father and Right Delicacies CEO, called me to his office one afternoon. Gourmet cuisine sold in high-end stores nationwide was made by the family business for generations. A refurbished downtown structure with elegant metal and mahogany housed the headquarters. I arrived in a new suit, hoping for an olive branch. Maybe Thomas finally realized my business degree could help the family business. Claire. He nodded without standing or shaking hands. Jason said you've been job hunting since graduation. I might feel hope. Officer. I focused on marketing and product development. Thomas treated me like a somewhat fascinating specimen under a microscope. A mailroom opening exists. It will teach you the basics of company operations where you belong. We were separated by the deliberate insult. My degree is in business, I whispered. He replied with Westfield State honors, showing his scorn. A privilege, Claire. No matter where they started, most people will jump at the chance to enter here. As I reached our bedroom door that night, I heard Jason on the phone. Dad, you can't really offer her the mailroom. His quiet, defensive voice gave me hope before he continued. Yes, she needs to earn her place. But I held my breath, pressing closer to the door. You're right, Jason answered after a lengthy silence. She can improve. She may attend workplace events with guidance. I know my undertaking, treating me like a burden or project. I traced the engagement ring, which now feels like a collar instead of affection. I kept telling myself Jason would stand up to them, and that he loved me for who I was, not what they wanted. The ultimate humiliation arrived in a silver box a week before our wedding. Inside was an Elizabeth Morrison finishing school certificate. The 12-week executive spouse program covers table manners and French conversation. Vivian wrote, "Maybe this will help you belong. Best wishes, Mother." My hands trembled as I showed Jason expecting, hoping he would finally be just as furious. But his face brightened. Mom's trying. Claire, this is considerate. You can traverse our environment with these talents. Your world. The words escaped before I could stop them. I thought we built our planet together. I was patronized by his forehead kiss. Yes, we are. You must acknowledge you weren't taught some things as a child. Filling in gaps. As we stood in our kitchen with the gifts, I should have left. It should have been obvious that Nick would never choose me above his family. He basically agreed with their evaluation of my worth. Instead, I walked down the aisle 3 days later with my father's arm around me, and my mother wiping proud tears in the front row. The right side of the church was crowded with politicians, cos, and old-money Boston families who watched me with courteous smiles and calculating looks. Your marriage is announced. Vivian looked over Jason's shoulder as he placed the wedding band next to my engagement ring. She won with her smile. The message was plain. The struggle had only begun, but she thought she was winning. Who knew that behind my tearful bridal smile lurked a hardened heart? Their brutality will plant the seed of strength to leave and take what they value. First, I'll discover my opponent. The Wright family made marriage like slow-motion drowning. Each day, another inch of water rose around me, but no one noticed or cared. First Thanksgiving as a married couple should have been fun. The ritual of exclusion repeated at every family gathering afterward. We met at the Wright estate, where Thomas ceremonially sliced the turkey and Vivian commanded the staff. I stood behind Jason adjusting my carefully chosen dress for family photos. Vivian agreed grudgingly. Claire, why not take the picture? Her voice tastes poisonous, Vivian said. You see these things well. A camera was forced into my hands before I could answer. I saw the Wright family via the viewfinder. Now my family is meant to be an ideal formation. Jason sat between his parents without looking back. Smile. My empty voice obsesses me. Jason shrugged when I mentioned it later. Mom just wants lovely family photos. We'll join you next time, Next time never comes. At Christmas, I was sent to the kitchen to check on dessert as the photographer arrived. My Easter assignment was to entertain distant cousins' children for the family portrait. Jason gets stronger and practices his excuses. Like a ghost haunting their immaculate tableau, I am there but unrepresented in the right family history. After 6 months of marriage, Jason started placing fashion magazines on our coffee table with articles about subtle beauty changes. "Darling," he remarked one evening as I browsed another magazine he'd left out. "Imagine doing something with your nose. A little tweak." I reflexively touched my nose. "Problems with my nose?" Jason sat next to me, holding my hand. "Nothing wrong with it. Just Mom mentioned." He resisted but too late. "Your mother discussed my nose." A smack hurt instantly. "She only wants what's best for us," Jason added in that pompous tone I'd come to hate. "The annual shareholders meeting is coming up. You'll be photographed for the company newsletter." She suggested presenting the best family brand image. "You mean?" My voice froze. "Indeed, it's vital. You now reflect me, and I reflect the organization." The recommendations increased in frequency and specificity. My hair was boring. Adding highlights may add class. My jawline needs shaping. My casual walk lacked proper posture. I became a project that never met specs as each criticism eroded my identity. The confidence that helped Jason recognize me at that charity event evaporated like a sun-damaged photo. An annual Wright Foundation charity gala commemorated our 1-year milestone. I spent weeks planning, examining guest lists, remembering Boston's affluent family's ties, and rehearsing small talk about relevant themes. Jason persuaded me to have Vivian's exquisite updo, which made me look more like her. I wore a black dress that cost more than my first car to watch Jason dazzle investors and business associates that night. Vivian approached a silver-haired man in a suit. "Charles, I'd like you to meet Jennifer, Jason's wife," she added, touching my arm. Charles looked between me, detecting tension. "Oh, of course, Claire." Vivian's giggle tinkled like shattered glass. "I was thinking of Jennifer Lopez. Doesn't she look like her, Charles? Something about the features." Jason watched with a tight smile, saying nothing. Later, Vivian introduced me as Jessica to a judge and Kathy to a congressman's wife. Each time Jason's defense weakened until he stopped correcting her. "It's just a slip of the tongue," he said on the way home. "Mom meets hundreds at these events. You're being oversensitive. It's been a long night." He turned away, ending the conversation. That night, while Jason slept beside me, I stared at the ceiling and wondered when I had become invisible in my marriage. On an ordinary Tuesday, Jason left his briefcase in the hall when he rushed out for an early meeting. I noticed it while going to coffee with a friend, my increasingly rare attempt to live outside the right orbit. I grabbed the briefcase and planned to drop it off at his office. My car tipped over, spilling some contents onto the passenger seat. As I gathered the papers, my hand froze over a small pharmacy paper bag with 2 pregnancy test kits and a yellow sticky note. "Vanessa, potential mother of a true right heir. Pick up champagne if positive." The handwriting was Vivian's, and the implication was devastating. Who is Vanessa? My mind races through every conversation, event, and introduction. Then I remembered Tina, Senator Hall's daughter, who had attended several Wright functions. Tall, blonde, meticulously bred, with Mayflower ancestry. Everything I wasn't. I replaced everything exactly as I'd found it, and gave the briefcase to Jason's assistant without seeing him. That night, I waited for him to explain or lie to me, but he said he'd be working late all week on the annual company retreat in the Berkshires this weekend. I inquired calmly, "All CEOs and their spouses?" My eyes were ignored. "You shouldn't come this year. Mom advises keeping it professional. Negotiating with foreign partners under pressure." Family retreats were always held. The spouse was always included. Another no-go. Another erase. I understood more than he thought, I said. I decided Friday morning when Jason left for the retreat. I traveled to the Wrights' magnificent Berkshire Lodge, where they entertained key clients. I parked down the road and took the customary woods trail to the back of the home. All of them were visible from the main lodge's floor-to-ceiling windows. Thomas addressing executives, Vivian overseeing personnel, company officials mingling, and Jason sitting closely with a blonde woman on a quiet couch near the fireplace. She held his arm as they chuckled about something private. I stood still while Vivian smiled at them. I couldn't